Yes Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
We have now something that is very intriguing, very interesting, by someone known as India's brain enhancer. All right, he's the founder of NeuroLeap, India's leading applied neuroscience company that leverages brain-computer interface technology for better mental health and brain enhancement. Alongside this, his impeccable public speaking abilities have led him to represent India at global stages, particularly the G20 summit back in 2016 and 17. Please put your hands together for leading neuroscientist Kumaar Bagrodia, founder, NeuroLeap.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Yes Bank and CNBC for inviting me here. I'm going to talk about the neuroscience of growth. A quick show of hands. What is the first precursor for growth? We've been using that word. The mind. Anybody else? Aspiration. Great. Dreams. Fantastic. So what you all have just said is vision. And I'm going to come back to that. But can anyone recognize anything in this picture? What's going on with these wires? Of course. But this is the epitome of neuroscience right here at the Olympics. Each of these wires actually measure in milliseconds, that is 1,000th of a second, between the start being given, the gun being fired, and the athlete pushing off. Even if the athlete starts after the gunfire, but it is within 1/10 of a second, it is a false start. Because it is assumed that in 1/10 of a second, you cannot consciously absorb the light and the sound of the start and fire up your muscles to react and start. So if you have started within 1/10 of a second, which is 100 milliseconds, then it is a false start. It happened at your subconscious level, not a conscious start. So to me, that is the epitome of neuroscience in real life and high performance. So imagine that athlete, he has to be doing it just right. Just right. We spoke about vision. In my mind, as a neuroscientist, growth is about vision and decision making. So you set your dreams, goals, mission statement, vision, and then all the decision making over the years, every minute, every day to achieve that. And I'm going to delve a little deeper into vision. Let me say that on the left side, you've got what you're actually made of. Your culture, values, childhood, upbringing, your habits, your stereotypes, society, all the cognitive shortcuts you've accumulated over the years. That's what makes you you. And on the other hand, you've got what's impacting you in that minute. What is the trigger for the vision? Is the vision a vision for the country? Is it a vision for your company, for your bank, for your organization? What is the trigger? Are you starting that exercise because of a crisis? Are you starting that exercise? We heard just in the previous panel some amazing entrepreneurial journeys. Was it a problem-solve approach? What was the trigger for that vision? The people around you. No, and I don't mean that from an HR perspective. But are the people around you rallying for you? Are they, naysayers? Are they saying, oh yeah, this is fantastic? What's going on? The physical environment. Literally, it boils down to the room you're in. The temperature, the smell, the noise. And honestly, the noise in the system. The public, policies, market forces, all of that is what's impacting you in the current. But unknowingly to us, all of these factors on the screen are making you state a certain vision, your background and the current environment. Decision making. So we said the second part of growth is decision making then. You know, your brain is a decision making machine. That's all it does. And I'll tell you why. So do we agree? You know, we've all seen, I mean, we had at a CNBC event, the efficient markets hypothesis that human beings are perfectly rational. Anybody here who believes that human beings are perfectly rational? That the efficient market hypothesis plays out 100%? No. So what's going on then? Do we agree that all of our decisions are based on logic and data alone? If that were true, we would be watching, you know, all of your news just on a black and white screen with data. All of your business decisions would be made on an Excel sheet alone, without the element of the human factor, without the element of emotion. So what really is happening? The brain is a decision-making machine, and these are some of the key words that impact us all the time. I would have mapped more than 18,000 brains in India in depth with our technology. There's not a single super achiever, whether it is entrepreneurs, business leaders, politicians, bureaucrats, artists, Bollywood, you name it. Not one person is immune to this. Greed, panic, fear of missing out, loss aversion. Are we seeing all of this stuff? How many people invest in stocks? Quick show of hands. Oh wow, almost everyone. Fantastic. Has anyone seen this behavior in themselves? Quick show of hands. So almost everyone has. You know, that's the beauty, that post facto, we'll all know that, arey yaar, I sold too early, right? You know, the markets were falling that day and I just couldn't hold on. My gut gave away. Next time I won't. Have you really changed that behavior the next time? But what's amazing is that we know that this is not what we need to do. We know each time we are making that mistake, but we are still not able to change. You know why? Because it's a proven fact that before you consciously made that decision to buy, sell, hold, be indecisive, be greedy, you know, be in panic, that decision was already made by your subconscious brain well before that moment. Maybe even 10 seconds before you realized it. And why is that happening? Because of all the points I mentioned of what makes us us. Our upbringing, the experiences, all of it. So we assume that these are just part of our personality, right? We'll say, oh, this person is, you know, a Manjava Khiladi, right? A veteran. What is that? We assume that this is how I am, or this is my personality, and I cannot change it. But actually, you can change your personality, your way of thinking, your mindset, your subconscious, the way you react, the way you respond at any age. And we do that day in, day out using a technological approach. Let me come to the subconscious brain since I've been talking about it. So the subconscious brain is really just about two things: patterns and energy. Patterns we spoke about a bit, right? Greed, fear, these are all subconscious patterns. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, today I'm going to be fearful when I go and trade, right? Nobody does that. The fear kicks in. It's a pattern. Since we're, you know, at a business event with a lot of analysts, a lot of sharp people with numbers, a quick shout out. What is 10 raised to the power of 15? Let me give you a tip. I did that same slide about a few weeks ago, and a very smart person in the audience said 10 with 15 zeros. I said, great. That's 1,000 trillion. And that each one of us has in our brains. That's the number of neuron connections in our brains. On an average, each one of our brains has 100 billion neurons. Each one of those is connected, each neuron is connected to 10,000. So that's 1,000 trillion connections. We store 2.5 million gigabytes of data in our brain. An adult brain, 2.5 million GB. Think about that. 2%, what do you think this is? Come on, guys. The last session, let's have some fun. No. No. That is your brain's weight compared to your body weight. So your brain weighs 2% of your body weight on an average. But it has 25% of your body's cholesterol. 1/4 of your cholesterol is in your brain. So please, the next time somebody tells you to cut cholesterol, just think about it, yeah? You'll be cutting some from your brain as well. Because 60% of your brain is made up of fat. You actually need fat for a healthy brain. 33%, what do you think this is? Now, this is really important, guys. Come on. It's not usage. No. Exactly. That is the percentage of your total energy consumption done by the brain. So if you're consuming 1,500 calories in a day, 500 were consumed by your brain. What do you think this is? Surely not your speed of running. Fantastic, sir. That is the speed of data transfer within the brain. It's faster than a bullet train. Why do you think that's happening now? Because we have gone from a physical load society to a cognitive load society. Think about it. When was the last time in human evolution that we had to absorb and process so much data? Every time you see a color, you're processing data. You're juggling your memory to decide that, yes, it's blue or green or whatever. Every microsecond, you're processing data. And you know how much data you're taking in every second? Take a wild guess. 11 Mbps, 11 million bits per second. If you're awake, that's the number. But, unfortunately, only 50 bits per second is processed by your conscious mind. Only 50 bits per second. So your subconscious brain is 99% of who you are. You might think, oh, I'm being very mindful, very conscious in what I'm doing. Sorry, sir. Sorry, ma'am. It's your subconscious. It's pre-decided. These are patterns. So your subconscious brain is 3 lakh times more powerful than your conscious mind. 3 lakh times. Let that sink in. Any golfers here? A few. I love this image, not by me. It says 1.5 seconds of thought. Most of those thoughts are part of your subconscious. The indecision, the doubt, right? I'm just going to switch gears for a minute. So how is all of this cognitive power coming to the brain? It's actually residing, surprisingly, not on top. It's inside. It's called the little brain. The cerebellum. It has 80% of the neurons of your brain. And very important functions like emotional regulation, control, all of the decision making happens there to a very large extent. Closing the loop on patterns. So we just discussed that the brain is just about 2% of your body weight, but consumes 1/3 of your energy, which means the mass to energy consumption ratio is so lopsided, the brain has evolved over millions of years to conserve energy. So it does not want to think about the same thing in the same manner again and again consciously. It pushes it to the subconscious. It creates a pattern. It creates a habit. It develops biases for thinking. It develops a mindset. over repeated interaction, repeated experiences again and again and again. And I'm going to switch to the energy side. I spoke about, patterns for the subconscious brain, and the second part is energy. So we need energy because we are consuming so much of it. So there's something called as the energy currency of the body. It's ATP, adenosine triphosphate. It powers every cell of your body, almost every biophysiological process in your body. And it is made by mitochondria, which are your energy powerhouses. So each cell in our body has a mitochondria, or many of mitochondria, and they produce ATP. It's used for pretty much all physiological biochemical processes. You will not be able to breathe, think, do anything. 100 billion neurons. Each neuron has 2 million mitochondria. Each neuron. So 100 billion raised to 2 million. That's the number of mitochondria you have. You consume about your body weight in ATP every day. It's being produced and consumed by our body. Your brain alone consumes 6 kg of ATP every day. And lastly, this is one of the ways where you can actually use technology to increase energy production in your brain by using red and near infrared light therapy, which gets absorbed by the mitochondria to increase ATP production and give you more energy.
Yes Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.
Max Life Insurance is one of India's leading companies that offers multiple life insurance and policies with transparency and credibility. And over the years, it has endorsed a vision towards uplifting the socio-economic condition of the society to amplify this vision and further delve into economic growth opportunities fostered by the insurance sector. May I please invite on stage Ranbir Singh Dariwal, CEO, Max Life Pension Fund Management, for the closing remarks.
Thank you. And the most interesting part of the session, closing remarks. So, when I got to know I'll be the last one speaking, but I was assured that there are drinks and dinner after this. So I was sure that there'll be somebody who will be staying back. So thank you all. And Prashant, I was thinking, how do I open this, and I was looking for one word to say that, how did this session go? And sometimes I think the simplest is the most powerful one. And, I just could think of, wow, and that's how the entire panel discussions today, what experience and what inspirational stories that we heard today on the panel today. So thank you everybody for sharing those insights. And the first step, India, 5th largest economy with a vision of 30 trillion. I think the first step is, for any journey is to complete is to take the first step. And by defining this vision very clearly, $10 trillion by 2030, I think we have taken that first step. We have very clearly defined what we need to achieve, and we have clearly put a timeline around it. So I think this vision is, very much possible. So, and today's session, presented by Yes Bank and CNBC, and with all the positive enthusiasm that we saw from the panelists, I believe that this vision is very much achievable, and if we all work together, this is quite achievable before time. So how do we look at growth? How do we achieve growth? Not just growth, but robust, resilient, with tighter governance. So how do we look at it? So in my mind, the most commonly used word today is AI, and I just thought of an acronym sitting here looking at all the experience that was shared today. ACE AI, and these are 5 things which I could summarize, how we could achieve growth here today. So A stands for accessibility. That's what we heard from all the experience today, that all the policies which are available should be accessible to all, and it should be easily accessible. Change, C, very important. We saw so many examples, changing at the right time, being ahead of the curve. Ease of doing business. I think that's very important for any growth engine for a nation. There should be ease of doing business. Awareness, financial awareness, reforms which are available, those awareness should be available with everybody. And most importantly is inclusion. So, if we are looking as a nation wanting to grow, all of us have to come together, and there should be an inclusivity in financials as well, whether it is SME, MSME, large corporates, women, men, so inclusivity plays a most important role. Another extremely important element, which I see for growth is security, safety. So once you are secured, safe, that's when it gives you confidence to look beyond and take more risk and look for higher aims. And some interesting facts, that I would like to give. As a nation, by 2030, India will have more than 35 crores in population, which will be above 50 years. That's a phenomenal number. We keep doing a lot of research, IPQ and IRIS, which is India Retirement Index. Through those surveys, we find out that 33% of people believe that their financial will be over after the retirement within 5 years. So we haven't prepared for ourselves for the big day, which is the retirement day. So what are the first steps that we need to do? In my mind, insurance can play a very large role, an important factor in this entire vision that we have, of 10 trillion economy by 2030. And the first steps that I think we should be doing is debunk this myth that insurance is an expense, we don't need it. Whether it is business, whether it is individual, whether it is health, I think insurance is something that all of us should be looking at. So that myth needs to be broken, that insurance is an expense. Second, why do I need a pension? I think all of us need pension. There are fortunate few, and when we are talking about as a nation, we need to look at wholesome. So there are very fortunate few which may think that, they don't require pensions, but it's very important from a government agenda, if you look at it, that we have a pension society. So I think these are the two things that, we should collectively as leaders here should try and break this myth. Now as Max Life, we are fully aligned to this vision of 10 trillion economy by 2030 and multi-trillion economy by 2047. And we fully support the vision of the government, the vision of our regulators, IRDA, that we should be having insurance for all by 2047, and PFRDA, that we should create a pension society. Now as Max Life, some of the steps that we will be taking, and obviously we'll need all of your support in this, we will ensure there is comprehensive coverage for all. And that is very, very important that we cater to all society elements here. So we have a comprehensive coverage for all. We empower awareness initiatives. So we will invest from our side to create this kind of awareness. And we address the accessibility challenges by having simple, innovative distribution, creating that vast reach, having some great partners onboarded who can help us spread this awareness. We are committed to this vision fully, and we believe with the positive sentiments today displayed by all the leaders, with the policy support that we have from the government, and if all the industry leaders come together, India, Bharat, can easily achieve a 10 trillion economy by 2030. And as Rohan Bopana said, there are no limitations. So let's ensure that we become a 10 trillion economy. I won't take much of your time. Thank you so much. Please take care.
Yes Bank and CNBC-TV18 present the Growth Summit Vision for a $10 trillion economy in association with Max Life Insurance.